Hey there, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, amazing agents. This is Coach Bill Pipes from Real Success coming at you as always, alive, excited, and most importantly, full of energy. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hope that you are crushing. I know we're a couple of weeks into the new year, and I'm hearing from everyone, oh my gosh, the market's great. I'm working hard. My skills, my behaviors, everything is lining up. So I'm just very inspired from all the feedback that we've been getting from you guys, both on past interviews that we've done, but more importantly on the impact it's having on your business and how you guys are crushing. So I want to hop straight into it today. All right, here for 2017, I got a commitment for you guys, and that commitment is we want to do a little bit shorter interviews that hit to the point a little bit faster because we know your time is valuable and you guys are getting busy. So as we start today, the word of the day is grit. The word of the day is grit. And it is a word that for 2017, truly, I think we need to have in the forefront of our attention. And why is that? There is two different ways that you can look at success. You can go, well, success is a function of talent, or success is a function of grit, or maybe it's a function of a little bit of both. But what I found in my short life of 45 years of being on this planet is that grit far outweighs talent. And that someone that has grit, determination, that they're individuals that are 100%, that they're going to figure it out. They're going to find out a way to make it happen versus sometimes people that are naturally talented, they coast on, they sit on their laurels a little bit and they coast. So, today I get to interview someone that is the epitome of grit and someone that I honestly, not only do I respect, I look up to this guy. Right. This is one of the individuals, one of the friends in my life that I get a chance to actually look up to for what he's produced and what he's done. And it is with my great pleasure to introduce you to you from Hoboken, New Jersey, Miss David Devoe. David, say hello to Real Success Nation, brother man.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Bill. Thanks for saying Hoboken right.
Yeah, did I get it right?
You did it right.
Right on. So, David, if you would please just very quickly, if you could give all the listeners and the viewers a little insight into who you are, like how long in the business, and just the progress and the growth that you've had since you've been in the business.
Sure. So I've been in the business 7 years. I came from mortgages. I did mortgages for about 10 years prior to that until they disappeared for 6 months, and then I got into real estate. Yeah, my first year, I did a few deals, right? Then it went up to 13, then to, 20, 24, 40, 60. And then in 2015 was 110. 2016 was 237. And now we're looking for 2017 to go, we're going to be doing 505 transactions.
Dude, so 7 years, first of all, 7 years in the business, and the goal is 500 transactions. Obviously, that if we talk about grit, I said you're the epitome of grit, man. What does that mean to you? Because having this hard work ethic and this drive, I think it's underrated in today's culture a lot. So, what is grit to you, and how important is it, man?
Thank you. And it wasn't until recently that I realized that grit was what it was, that I had grit and how important it was. I read the book Grit by Angela Duckworth, and a light went off. So I've always had this perseverance. I've always had just that drive inside of me to, that absolute certainty that things are going to get done, whether it was in sports, in music, in business. I'm lucky that I always had that, and I always fostered it and worked on it. I remember a story that my parents tell, at holiday time, where I was 3 years old, and my parents had this fence put in around the whole property to make sure that I wasn't running around the neighborhood. And they spent however long it took to build the fence, and they let me out in the backyard, and then my mom looks out the kitchen window, and I'm standing in the driveway outside the fence there was a little tiny space behind the garage where the fence didn't connect, and I was able to go find it and get out of there. So, as I started to learn about grit and started to look for it in the people that I'm in business with, I started looking back at the patterns of my life and the things that I've done, and it's always been there. It's always been that centralized theme for me to build on.
So do you think it's, you talk about that you've had this since you were a very young age, and, we got to sort of define grit. Definition of grit for you would be what?
Perseverance and the willingness to push forward and not give up.
Yeah. So do you think that that's something that someone's born with, or can you develop it?
Both.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
So there's going to be people who are naturally born with it, and it can be taught and developed.
Okay. So tell me, how do you? Here I am. Most individuals, we think about the average agent out there selling 9 homes per year. There's certain days that they want to prospect. There's certain days that they don't. There are certain days that they want to follow their schedule, certain days that they don't. I remember something that Darren Hardy said when I was having dinner with him in San Diego. He said the difference between those people that change the world and those that the world changes is that the people that change the world have figured out a way to be able to do the things they don't want to do on the days they don't want to do it. Other people, the people who the world changes them, they do what they want to do when they feel like doing it, right? Right? Versus doing the things they don't want to do. So, brother, how does someone who doesn't naturally follow through, has had a challenge following a schedule, et cetera, makes commitments, breaks, how do they move from that to being someone that finds a way no matter what?
I think there's a few ingredients to that, right? So, and they're all of equal importance, right? So in no particular order, I think having your big why and your goals crystal clear and understanding why they're your goals, without that, it's going to be very hard for you to have grit and perseverance when things don't go your way, right? So having clear goals, very, very important. The second thing is having the awareness that you're going to fail. Having the awareness that you're going to fail and being okay with that, and having that expectation set up front is the key. Because what happens then, right? I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm going along, right? And I hit a failure. I hit a wall. Well, if I already knew that was going to happen, what's going to happen there is that's just going to be a way for me to reset and then have another major breakthrough. I'm aware of it. I know, it's part of my business plan. When it's not there and that expectation is not set and you're not prepared to be okay with failure, it's going to pound you down, and you're going to build up resistance to it. And what that's going to do is that's just going to put a wall up around you, and not saying that you can't break through and persevere, but it's going to be it's going to be a lot easier if you have that expectation set that you're going to fail, right?
That if you know that failure is a component of success, right? Yeah. You've got to know that. Wow. I honest, hey brother, we could stop the interview right there, you guys. Like honest to goodness, that right there is one of the most poignant things I think has ever been said on Real Success, is that you've got to be aware that you're going to fail. And I heard something that was amazing, David. It's in a book called The Way of the Superior Man, right? And it's about like spirituality and relationships. And he says, life is a series of lessons and celebrations, right? And what you're saying is, without these failures, there's no lesson. You can't learn. You can't grow, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right on.
Breakdown leads to breakthrough. What the director of sales for my team, texted me last week and was like, I got the flu. And I'm like, congratulations. Because your body's breaking down, and when it's all said and done, you're going to have a breakthrough. You're going to be physically better than you were before. And it's the same thing in life and in business.
I love it. So I've got having your big why, clarity on your goals, critical point, okay? And reviewing that, on a regular basis so that you can make it through those difficult times. Awareness that you're going to fail, and be okay with it. In fact, celebrate it, right? Yeah. Celebrate your failures. Okay? Mm-hmm. versus being afraid of them, and look at the lesson. Is there anything else that determines or can create grit, bud?
Yeah, learn about it, right? Read books about it. Surround yourself with people who you know have grit, and ask them questions. Be involved in coaching, and it's something that you can learn, you know. And I know that because once I became aware that it actually existed and was a big element in my life, I started reading about it and learning about it. And the more awareness you have on something, the more enhanced it's going to be. So yeah, reading about it and learning about it and having those ingredients in place is what I would recommend.
Yeah. You know, I think we can substitute, brother. We can substitute even the word grit with discipline. You know, it's not as sexy. You know, grit has become like this very sexy sort of, component, but it really is what we're talking about is the discipline, right? And you and I have had mentors that, the same mentor before, who I remember him saying, I may not be the smartest, I may not ever be the fastest, but you know what? I can out discipline anybody else. It's the one thing that I can truly control. And that stuck with me for years. So, how do you get yourself or get a team member, because your team has expanded so like beautifully and organically, right? It hasn't been some, unthought out of process. I'm watching your team grow firsthand and the right people being attracted. But how do you get people or even yourself to do things that you don't want to do on the days you don't want to do
it? So I can't get them to do it. I can't get them to do it. Okay. So number one, the people who are attracted to being in business with us and the people that we kind of bring into our world, we've gone through a process up front. We know that they have the culture and the values, and we know that there's an element of grit. We're asking them questions about times in their life where they failed and how it made them feel and what they did before we even get into business with them. So we're starting, instead of starting at 0 there, we're starting at 5. And so then we take them through a goal setting exercise and a goal setting workshop that builds that passion behind what they're doing. So we know they already have it. They have the culture, they have the value, they have grit. And now we're putting goals in place, right? And establishing the awareness that there's going to be some failures, right? And that this is long-term consistency. So we already have all the ingredients that you and I just talked about before. Now it's just
they're recruited to it. They're recruited to the team with those components, right?
Exactly. So now once we put them into the machine and we put the machine behind them, it's game over. And we're constantly our team is very heavily focused on culture and mindset. So what I'm talking to all of my teams about is constant mindset work. And I'm not letting a day go by where they're not understanding that failure is inevitable, and look out for it. Be aware of it. Look out for it. It's coming. So you might as well look out for it, because that's where you're going to get to explode. So you should be excited about it. So it's pretty cool to be able to work that way. But it's all about that first kind of process that it's a very slow hiring process. We want to make sure that everybody who comes into our world is in the same, holds the same values.
Awesome. So how do you get I'm going to go back to the question again, and I'm going to ask it a different way to you. Has there ever been a time in your life when you didn't want to follow through with something?
Yeah, man. Many.
Okay. And you did it anyway?
Yes.
How did you get yourself to do that? That's always in existence, right? But there were 2 different ways that I dealt with it throughout my career. The first way was just grit and hard work, bulldozing, I called it. Like, there were many days where, I recall being literally in a broom closet with my headset on, every day for 3.5 hours a day for 3-4 years, and just put my head down and bulldoze through it. Now I had coaches, amazing coaches, like you, who helped guide me along the way of taking a different approach than that. But in the beginning, it was grit and hard work. Put my head down and just do it. So to answer your question, how did I
get through that.
How did you get yourself to do, because there's a lot of people that are watching right now, or
Yeah,
David, a lot of viewers right now that, there's a pattern. I think it's like not just viewers that are watching, it's just human beings. There's a pattern that is, we make commitments and we break them.
yeah,
And then we come up with excuses for why it was that we weren't able. And it isn't just business. It's across the board. It can be in a relationship. It can be, with our health and vitality. And here we are at the beginning of the year, and what is it? It's like 93% of all, New Year's resolutions fail within 3 weeks, and what I really want to get at is how does a normal person keep going? How does a
yeah.
normal person, like, not want to do something, fucking get off their ass and do it? Oops,
Yeah.
did I say that?
Well,
Sorry.
No, it's passion. So thinking
Yeah.
back, right there, I never wanted, what happened to me in 2009, right? When mortgages disappeared for 6 months, what I was doing for a living was gone. I went through all my savings. I had my condo went into a short sale, right? I remember one day, and I tell this at my goal setting workshop, that like, I had this guitar that I bought years ago. I spent $2,000 on this guitar, and I played the shit out of it, and I loved it. It was a part of me. I loved that guitar. And I had a few guitars, but this one in particular. And so I remember the day when I had to take that guitar and bring it to the guitar shop, and I had to sell it for, I think, $1,000 or $800. And it was because I had burned through my savings. There were no mortgages. It was tough. And I said to my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, that was the hardest thing. Losing the condo, losing the BMW was not hard. Losing that guitar was the hardest thing for me. And that it was on my wall. I was going to get that guitar back. And so that whole time in my life was, I dug out of that and said, no way am I ever going to be back there. There was a lot of passion behind that. And so when I got into real estate, and getting back to what you said, that how does somebody do that? Man, like, there was no other option for me. I wasn't going to fail. But there were many days where I walked past people who were walking to their real jobs, and I was going to hit the phones and prospect, where, yeah, my drunk monkey crept in and said, hey, it would be much easier to just get a job. There were those days. One day, one of my coaches said to me, if you do what nobody else will do for 5 years, then do whatever you want for the rest of your life. They said, do what no one else will do for 5 years, and do whatever you want for the rest of your life. And I wrote it down, and it was plastered all over my life, and that was it.
Yeah. How many years ago was that coach said that to you?
6 years. 6 years ago.
Yeah. And right now, are you close to the position of being able to do what others can't do now, because you've done what you didn't want to do for 6 years?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was true. It was true. So I have the opportunity to step out of production if I wanted to. I have opportunities now to do whatever I want to do. I could go as big as I want with my world because of the hard work that I put in the beginning.
That's the long tail game, man. You know what I mean? Like and it's really interesting. Our buddy Thatch Nguyen, right?
Yeah.
Up in Seattle, John L. Scott. Big shout out to Thatch. Just love that guy. Thatch used to have people come and prospect with him or watch him prospect, and he said, I had to stop doing that. And I said, why? He said, because people would they'd come and watch him prospect when he's done like 500,000 to 1 million calls, and they'd see him able to produce results in 2 or 3 calls that it should take a normal person maybe 100 calls. And people would get this, they'd see the end result, and they wouldn't see everything else that's gone into getting him to the end result. And I think one of the things that I want everyone to recognize right now, the reason I bring it up is, David, it's the same thing for you. I mean, broom closet prospecting 3.5 hours a day, practicing your scripts, like having to sell all your shit, man. And, and just being able and wanting to quit. People don't see the struggle. They see the end result and they get lost in that. Can you speak to that, man?
Yeah. There's, what you said about Thatch is I had to do the same thing, because I could pick up the phone and make 6 contacts and set a listing appointment. But there was years of studying NLP, of script practice, role playing script practice twice a day, 5 days a week for years. And calling and chanting my scripts into my coach's voicemail every single day for years, all of that. It was a lot of hard work, but I always remembered that it's not going to be that forever. I'm building something. So that gave me the foresight and the ability to work through the pain and the struggle in the beginning. It's a struggle. It's a pain to go through that. Now, there's a lot more in place, and especially with what you're doing and what Tom is doing for these agents, there's a lot more in place for them to hover higher with the coaching than they would, obviously, than they would without it, right? But at the end of the day, it's work. You have to put in work, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I just wrote this down. So this goes along with realize you're going to fail, but realize it's going to be a struggle. It's not easy. You know what I mean? And if it was, everyone would be doing it. And there's going to be days it's a struggle. And there's going to be days that you're just fucking lit up and inspired, like, but a lot of days it's going to be a struggle. And, one of the things I respect so much about you is your mindset. Like I look at that thing and I go, man, that's a steel trap. And I know that's not just something that happened. I know all the hard work that you've done and that you put into developing the strength of that mindset and the gratitude. So tell me a little bit, if you would, what is your daily, or what has been your daily mindset rituals that have helped shape who you are and the strength of your personal psychology?
So meditation daily, right? Exercise, diet, and sleep. Meds.
The meds.
So, and being purposeful about what you're doing, making sure that it has to be in your schedule, right? So in the morning, you're waking up, either you're exercising or you're reading. I would read and meditate in the morning, and I would exercise at noon after I did all my lead follow-up. That's just what works best for me. Mm-hmm. Right? So as you're going throughout your day, there's going to be mindset attacks that happen. So again, it's just a matter of knowing that they're going to happen, being aware of them, so that when they do happen, you can shine a spotlight on them and take them for what they really are, instead of letting them control you. Being purposeful throughout your day of scheduling in those mindset breaks. I would jump off the phone at like 10 and take a walk on the waterfront here for just 10 minutes, and it was just breathing, doing the best I can to quiet my mind and just focus on breathing and appreciating the things around me for a minute, getting back in touch with that universe, and then going back into the broom closet.
Awesome. So mindset breaks you would do throughout the course of the day. So you'd prospect 50 minutes or so, give yourself a 10-minute break, prospect another 50. Was that the typical routine?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. Books that have had the biggest impact on you that we should be reading.
Okay. The Go-Giver.
I have not read that yet, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I have not. I'm going to order it.
Yeah, order it. It's awesome. It's a great audiobook too. It's only like 2 or 3 hours.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So Think and Grow Rich.
Yep.
A big, a life changer for me was Taming Your Gremlin. Taming Your Gremlin by Rick Carson, which, I mean, talk about mindset. I mean, if you read that book and you practice what's in that book, your mindset will be that steel trap. I mean, it's really awesome. Yeah.
So was that one of the fundamental books that you look at, was Taming? Because I remember when you recommended that, I went out and I got it. He's down in Florida, right? Is that where he lives, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure where he lives.
Yeah.
But a good friend of mine, Aaron Novello, who's an agent in Fort Lauderdale, actually coaches. He's a gremlin taming coach, so I coached with him on these practices of strengthening your mindset and learning to live in the moment, be present to the moment. So yeah, that book was.
Yeah, that was a game changer too.
Yeah.
Best audio programs for us, because I'm looking at this, man, and I'm thinking, so much of grit is this funnel, the stuff that comes into our head, is feeding it with as much good as we possibly can, so that when we have the failure, when we have the struggle, when we have the breakdown, we're able to sort of regroup fast, quick, and just keep going, right?
Yeah.
So, so best audio program that these guys should be listening to at the beginning of 2017.
What do you mean? What do you mean by audio program? Like,
remember tapes? Like, like audio programs, MP3s. Like for me, Earl Nightingale's "Strangest Secret" was just a big game changer.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Earl Nightingale, Lead the Fields, right? Lead the
I love
Field.
that one.
Yeah. And let's see, what would be a good audio program? Think and Grow Rich. I mean, Think and Grow Rich audio would be amazing. The book is I would get the book too, because there's a lot of exercises in there that you want to follow. And Grit, the book by Angela
Duckworth. That was a game changer for me. That one right there. I read that and I went, okay, yes. And you can reverse engineer and connect the dots in your life and see it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to, dude, I mean, we're right now, like I promised these guys, I want to keep this to 30 minutes, right? Because, and we've already hit them with so much. So, but if you were to leave them with one or two parting thoughts about, here I am, it's the beginning of the year, I am committed to having this be my best year ever. What are the 2 or 3 things that I've got to do as that agent to be able to actually have 2017 be my best year ever?
Okay. Well, you've already told them all this stuff, right? So I'll repeat it, but make sure you have your business plan detailed, written out, right? Okay. I would say make sure. Now, there's a big difference between a business plan and goals, right? So make sure you know what your goals are, meaning not just that you have goals, but why are they your goals, right? Why are they your goals? What is it going to do for you when you get to those goals? And dig deep around that. Really take the time to figure out what that looks like. And we do our goal setting workshop quite often, but I'm always happy to help people dig into that. So if anybody needs help with figuring that out, please reach out to me. So that's 2, right? And the third thing I think would be to take all of these things that we talked about, especially the failure, because we already know that if you accept the fact that you're going to fail, right, and you embrace that and you look for it and you wait for it and you're excited about it, there's no fear in your life. So when you put that into action and that's a reality that you've accepted, automatically you're going to have grit. And the funny part is, a lot of times it causes you to skip over what would have been failures. You call awareness to something like that and you rise above it, and it doesn't even happen. But I think those are the 3 key things. And if you do that, it's game over. Dude.
Okay. So again, what you just said, and I want people to hear this, listen to this again and again and again. Go back to that last little section. Of course, we know business plan, you got to write it out, have your personal goals, have your why. But there was something that David said, guys, that can change your life. Guys, fundamentally shift your entire life. When you get excited about failure and you look forward to it and you know it's going to happen and you know it's going to be in your life, then the fear disappears. Many of us get so concerned with where fear drives us, guys. Go back and listen to how he messaged that, because I promise to goodness that right there will change who you are in your business. It'll change who you are when you're prospecting. It'll change who you are in your relationship with your spouse or significant other. It'll change who you are as a father, as a mother. That right there is one of the greatest things that I've heard in a very, very long time, man. So I'm going to leave it with that. Okay. So you offered for them. Today's interview has been a lot of this, watch what's going on up here, guys. It's been a lot of what is happening with your head. But what I know is this. I know that if you can control this, then that you can control this. And if you control this, then you can control this, which is the money that you make, and more importantly, control how you feel and the life that you're creating. So David, if they want to get a hold of you, what is the best way for them to do that? If they've got referrals, or if they want to take you up on some assistance and some guidance in terms of your generous offer to be able to help them, how do they get a hold of you, man?
I don't know, I guess email. We service New Jersey. We have 6 teams. We have our hub in Hoboken. We have 5 expansion teams. And we're about to launch 2 other regions too for expansion. So for now in New Jersey, if you have anybody looking to sell or buy, send me an email. It is david@homesbydevoe.com. So that's david@homes, HOMES, by BY, Devoe, DEVOE.com. And if you want to chat or brainstorm around some of the stuff that we're talking about, or if you want help with setting goals or anything, please reach out, shoot me an email, and I'll set up a time to talk with you.
Right on, brother. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I consider myself privileged to consider you a friend, even though you didn't climb Kilimanjaro with us. But we got more opportunities for you. We got more opportunities coming up this year, baby.
Yes.
So, all right. Hey, first of all, David, massive gratitude and appreciation for you and for this interview and taking time out this Friday afternoon for you to be able to do this. I truly am grateful and appreciative. And you just really brought some valuable information about what's going on up here and how to be able to control it and how to have some grit, guys. So look, this is an interview I go back and I listen to again and again and again. And as always, we are here to support and assist you. What Tom and I do and our entire ecosystem of 140 coaches and the 100 employees that we have has one thing in mind, and that's you summiting, which means you getting the top of your mountain, which is your goal for 2017. So if there's anything that we can do to support you, to assist you, to guide you, to help you, that is our intention. That is our goal. That's why we're here. That's why we exist. So take advantage of it. Most importantly, create some wonderful momentum here in the first quarter so that it can push you forward through the rest of the year. And I look forward to seeing you guys next month for our next interview. And again, David, thank you. And thank you guys for watching. Until we speak again, keep your mind focused on the future. Keep your actions right here and your awareness in the present. Most importantly, keep on moving forward, guys. It's Coach Bill Pipes signing out. See you next month. Bye-bye.